Hello. I've decided to finally make a continuation in the series I'm doing with the numbers. So I'm on number 5 today, like I have been for years because I stopped doing this. I did 1, 2, 3, 4. But I have a notebook, sketch pad, that I just barely got with some nice blank papers on it. So I'm gonna start by drawing a circle like I do in all of these, because I draw the number as I'm explaining it. And every number is the number 1. And so the number 5 is like the number 1 times 5. And it's also going to be it divides a circle into 5. It divides a circle 5 times. The shape that it makes. So here's my circle. I feel like the way to draw a perfect circle is to go forever. Keep on going. I did stop, but the thing is, everything's alive and things are moving. So I'm not going for the most sterile, symmetrical circle I possibly can, because the point is that there's motion and things are happening. Also, this is as circular a circle as I can draw, so that's how it is anyway. So there's a circle. I'm going to talk about the number 5 while I draw. So the number 5 is kind of about action and motion. It's kind of all about doing multiple things, like having an agenda, but kind of being spontaneous and free and having fun in the way that it's being taken care of. Everything's being taken care of as long as everything's being taken care of. If something stops, well, that's not even what the number 5 is. That's different numbers. So when we're talking about the number 5, it's a prime number. It's the numbers are divided by some people in theory into 3 groups. So there's 3, 6, and 9 that goes together. 2, 4, and 8, and then there's 1, 5, and 7. And all 1, 5, and 7 have in common really is that they're odd numbers and they're prime numbers. 3 is also a part of that group, as is 11. So 11 could be a part of that group. 3, it makes sense to put 3 with 3, 6, and 9, but it's still a prime number. It still is what it is. And then there's 3 groups of 3. But then the thing is, it's a number system that's based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then it also has 11 and 22. And some people include other multiples of the number 11 beyond 11 and 22. I think that's fine if you like doing that. I don't really care, but the way I personally go about this is that I read for the numbers 1 through 9 and then 11 and 22. And part of the reason I do that is because then it's a system that's based on the number 9, but then it's also based on the number 11, in the sense that there's 11 numbers. Because really there's infinite numbers, if there's any numbers at all. The numerology, or whatever, the numerological practice is like, to a large extent, about reducing larger numbers to smaller ones. So anyway, we're doing the ones that I consider the basics, which is 1 through 9, and then 11 and 22. I'm also in the process of starting to paint these numbers. Actually, I'll get the number 1 that wait, here's the number 5. I was doing 5 points. So this is me kind of doing multiple things at once. Those are 5 points, and then I'm going to connect them, which is kind of like, excuse me. I'm talking a little fast. 1 second. So this is my picture of the number 1. I'm painting it using a ink I made from vinegar and iron, which is, it's blackish and reddish brownish. It's basically rust color. So anyway, the number 5 is about doing a lot of things. I'm going to draw the lines now for this. I also like to think of numbers like in a sequence as like a house being built from 1 to 9. And then 11 and 22 kind of has to do with what becomes of the house afterwards. 11 is kind of like the first people that would live there. And then 22 is kind of like what the house actually becomes. Like it ends up being. And it's being it for itself as well as for other people. Obviously the people that live there. Or have lived there, or might in the future. Wow. I mean, that's pretty symmetrical. For how I'm used to drawing these. Practice makes perfect. So that's why I don't worry about it, because this is me practicing. This is how it becomes more perfect, if it can be. So that's a star, a 5-pointed star. The number 5 is the first number that can be drawn as a star, and I think that's significant. That means it can make a full, complete circuit without going in a circle, but still hitting all its points. So it's actually like 2 circuits once the star gets complete. The number 5 divides a circle into 72-degree segments, which in astrology is a quintile, I think. And a biquintile is 144-degree aspect. So the number 5, the personality traits, I kind of discussed it, but it's like an active, like someone who enjoys things. They enjoy enjoying things. That's what they like to do. and they like finding new things, they like having favorite things, they like sharing things that they like with people they like. They are capable of appreciating concepts such as alone time or deep thought. But really it's kind of a stable number, but it's a number between 4 and 6, which are kind of the most like structured numbers. 8 is also very structured as well. So to me it's like the counter to that energy, the counter to the evenness around it. It's saying like, hey, look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? But really it's like, it's connecting everything, but it's still looking for new things too. So it's like, it's kind of built on moments, a sequence of moments that a person lives, which is really their life. But there's all different kinds of patterns that we can go through to achieve our ends, different order that we can do things in. And 5 is kind of about spontaneity. It's about like all the great things, maybe even all at once if possible, but you know, if not, then you can like go from thing to thing. That's kind of the idea here. So there's my finished number 5. Oh yeah, and so there's kind of like a story or whatever, the building the house. So 1 is like having the idea to build a house. 2 is actually making any sort of like motion in that direction, like talking about it, telling people, looking at land. And then 3 is actually taking a first step. It's something happens to more towards that. It could be getting a loan, it could be finding a financial partner or someone who's going to help you develop the land in a way that you see fit, or it could be maybe the need arises, and so that's what has to happen. So the building commences, and then 4 is not the groundbreaking, but it's more the actual planning out phase, which in reality happens during the whole process, but it happens in phases. And there's a moment when people all have to sit down at a table and really talk about what's about to happen if something is about to happen, unless it's one person doing it all on their own, but then they still have to plan it out and sit down at the table or wherever they are, maybe draw out a blueprint. It's a planning number. And then after that is the number 5. The 5 is the action that's based on all the previous knowledge. It's like we're here, like what had to be decided has been figured out to the point that we can go from thing to thing and do a lot of work, because there's a lot of work to be done. 1 is the beginning, but 4 is kind of really the beginning of consciously doing things with purpose and practical aims and intentions. And then 5 is the energy that results from that, simply knowing that there's kind of an infinite amount of things that could take place. So really all that ever happens is what we do. So what would you like to do? Could be a lot of things. It could be one thing that's your favorite thing for 5 different reasons. I don't know. But this is a long video already, so I'm gonna leave it at that. That's kind of what I think about the number 5. It's kind of a great number right there in the middle of the sequence of 1 through 9. It's kind of special, you know, all to itself. It's kind of like, I don't know, there's energy with that. It's creative energy, making things happen. Peace.